Imagine the satisfaction of building your own custom bookshelf or transforming an old van into a luxury camper. These DIY projects promise creativity, savings, and a sense of accomplishment. You start full of enthusiasm, but soon, the reality sets in. Tools pile up, materials get expensive, and each mistake adds more time and money to the total cost. Suddenly, you might find yourself wondering if you've really made the budget-friendly choice, or if you're just draining your time, energy, and resources. So, is DIY home building really as cost-effective as it seems? Let's explore why taking the DIY route often costs more than expected, and when it might actually be a smart decision. At first glance, building your own home seems like a natural money saver. After all, eliminating labor costs alone sounds like a huge win. Professional builders charge a premium for their expertise and time, which means DIYers often believe they can save a substantial amount by doing it themselves. Take a contractor who would charge hundreds of dollars to build a custom bookshelf. Building it yourself might seem like a bargain. DIY also offers complete creative control over your project. From layout to materials, you get to make every decision without having to compromise. And there's the sense of pride that comes with saying, "I built this with my own two hands." For many, the rewards of DIY are not just financial, but deeply personal. Plus, the perceived savings often come from sourcing cheaper materials, like reclaimed wood or surplus supplies. This all adds up to a compelling case for DIY. But what's often overlooked are the hidden costs that can quickly derail your budget. First, there's the expensive tools and equipment that many DIY projects require. From power saws to cement mixers, the tools you'll need for home construction can cost hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars. And this doesn't even consider the cost of renting specialized equipment like scaffolding, which can add even more to the bottom line. Another hidden cost is material pricing. Professional builders often buy materials in bulk at a discount, but DIYers are stuck paying retail prices. A contractor might pay $2 per square foot for drywall, but you're likely to pay $4 at a hardware store. Then there are permit and inspection fees. Navigating local building codes can be a headache, and failing an inspection might require tearing down and rebuilding parts of your project, which adds further costs. The real kicker, however, is the cost of mistakes. It's easy to underestimate how many errors you might make along the way. Misaligning a load-bearing wall or miscalculating measurements can lead to wasted materials, costly repairs, and a lot of frustration. Additionally, the time you invest in the project comes at an opportunity cost. Every hour spent building is time not spent working, relaxing, or pursuing other projects. One of the biggest challenges of DIY home building is the time commitment. Building a home, even a small one, is a massive undertaking, and DIYers often underestimate how long the project will take. Without professional experience, tasks tend to take longer, and that's before considering the inevitable trial and error. For instance, a professional builder might frame a wall in a day, while a DIYer could spend several days figuring it out. On top of that, most DIYers aren't working on their projects full-time, which means weekend-only builds can stretch out for months or even years. What you thought would be a weekend project might stretch into 18 months or longer, adding a lot of time to your overall costs. Delays due to mistakes, material shortages, or failed inspections only add to the timeline. Ordering the wrong-sized windows, for example, could mean waiting weeks for replacements. And managing the project itself can be overwhelming. Coordinating materials, subcontractors, and timelines can eat into your time and create more stress than you originally anticipated. That said, there are still scenarios where DIY home building might make sense. If you have construction experience, or if you're working with a small, simple structure like a cabin or tiny home, DIY can be much more manageable. If you have the time and access to cost-free materials, like timber from your own land, it can make the financial case for DIY even stronger. For instance, milling your own lumber or using reclaimed materials can drastically reduce material costs. In these cases, DIY home building aligns more with your goals, but it still requires careful planning and a realistic understanding of what you're getting into. However, for most people, hiring professionals is the more practical and financially sensible option. Contractors offer several advantages, starting with time efficiency. A professional crew can complete your home in a fraction of the time it would take you as a DIYer. A project that might take 2 years for a DIYer to finish could be done in 6 months by professionals. Moreover, experts bring the skills and experience necessary to ensure the job is done right, reducing the risk of costly mistakes or structural issues. Professionals also benefit from relationships with suppliers, meaning they can buy materials in bulk at lower prices. For example, a contractor might save 20–30% on lumber compared to what you'd pay at a retail store. A builder's access to bulk discounts can translate to significant savings. Additionally, hiring professionals allows you to offload project management, including permits, inspections, and timelines, reducing stress and avoiding the logistical challenges that come with DIY. Professionals also tend to deliver higher quality results, meaning fewer repairs and replacements down the line. This long-term reliability often makes hiring pros a more cost-effective option. Before jumping into a DIY home building project, it's essential to evaluate whether it's the right decision for you. Assess your skills and experience. If you're not familiar with construction, you'll likely face a steep learning curve and make costly mistakes. Calculate all costs thoroughly, including tools, materials, permits, and any mistakes that might arise along the way. Be realistic about the time investment. Can you truly dedicate the hours needed to get the job done? Also, consider the opportunity costs. What are you giving up in terms of income, relaxation, or other opportunities by taking on a massive project like this? If you're on the fence, consider a hybrid approach. Hire professionals for the complex tasks like plumbing and electrical work, while handling simpler projects yourself, like painting or landscaping. This allows you to save some money while still enjoying the DIY experience. The reality of DIY home building is that it's rarely a cost-effective or time-saving solution. Hidden expenses, time investment, and the risk of mistakes often make it more expensive than hiring professionals. However, for those with the necessary skills, time, and patience, DIY can be a rewarding and fulfilling experience. For the average person, hiring professionals offers faster, higher quality results with fewer headaches. Before embarking on a DIY home project, ask yourself, are you ready to invest not just your money, but your time, energy, and sanity? Sometimes the best choice is to let the pros handle the heavy lifting.